Welcome to Bridging the Info Gap, our bi-monthly webinar series where we update you on all the things in the leadership and the information that's going on at PDA. I'm Ward Blackwell, the Executive Director of PDA, and I'm extremely happy to have everyone with us tonight. We've broadened the audience, so we should have a little more participation than in the past, and looking forward to a lot of questions. Now, for those who have not done this before, as the nice lady said at the very top there, you are in listen-only mode. You will not be able to turn on your camera, open your microphone, you listen and watch, but you will have the opportunity to ask questions of any of our panelists. If you look at the control box, which is usually on the right side of your screen, near the bottom should be a little line that says questions. Click on the triangle next to questions. A window pops up in which you can type it. We will actually have two Q&A portions tonight. One right after our special guest from the PA Legislature presents, and we'll ask your questions of him at that point in time, and then another Q&A session at the end for all the other panelists. So just type them in at any time from now on in the question box. We'll read them live. Also, if you look just below the question box, there is a section for handouts. There's a handout from one of our presenters tonight, which you can download. Now, go ahead, next slide, please, Michelle, because we do need to acknowledge our sponsors tonight. As always, PDA Member Advantage Program helps support this program, and they are a great resource for all PDA members to get excellent discounts and excellent quality value services on a wide variety of products. We very much encourage you, if you have not looked at this program before, check it out. You will save money and be very glad. And one of our platinum partners in that program, Mastercard, is a shining example of that. The average PDA member using their member discount who switches to Mastercard is saving more than $6,000 a year in credit card processing fees. Call them for a free analysis of your bill today. With the commercials out of the way, I'd like to introduce tonight's panel. Joining us as our very special guest, Senator Dave Argall. He is a Pennsylvania Senator from District 29. Dr. Ted Rockwell, PDA President. Mr. Ryan Hennigan and Mr. Norman Kwong, both from the ADA, talking about some of the business operations there. And finally, your representative on the Council for Dental Practice and Benefits. Dental Benefits and Practice, excuse me, Dr. Eric Shirley. That is tonight's panel. So without further ado, because we've got a lot to cover here, particularly in the government relations sector and access, which is where Senator Argall works, he's got some updates on some really critical programs relating to access to care. And we'll have an opportunity to quiz him a little bit about goings on at the legislature, where he's actually sponsoring some dental bills, including one for PDA, that I'm sure will find of great interest. So, Senator Argall, floor is yours.
Thank you, and thanks for the invitation. Greetings from here in the snow in Schuylkill County. I represent about 250,000 people in Schuylkill, so that's Pottsville area, Carbon County, Jim Thorpe, and up in the Hazleton area in southern Luzerne County. And I guess the key point that I want to talk about is what Temple University is doing here in the district to try to help rural patients find more access to quality dental care. And if any of this sounds familiar, if you were with me 2 weeks ago when Representative Barton and I talked at the Pennsylvania Oral Health Summit, this is going to sound very, very familiar to many of you. But I guess what happened was 2 years ago, the Temple Dean was at the Oral Health Summit talking about the terrible problems. Next slide, please. And he talked to a friend of mine from Tamaqua who works at a local hospital, and they kept seeing patients come in urgent need of dental care into the ER. And I'm sure everyone on this call understands ERs are not equipped for dental care. And so I guess they could give you a couple of aspirin and say, good luck, trying to find a dentist. And so Dr. Ismail talked to some of my friends from Tamaqua, and as they say, the rest is history. Next slide. Most of this is going to be very repetitive. You understand the need in rural Pennsylvania, 35 dentists per 100,000 as compared to the urban parts of Pennsylvania that have 56. Only 6% of dental school graduates are practicing in rural areas. You all understand the problems with MA, and so it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And we're just thrilled that the Temple has come forward to work with us. Next slide. Again, it comes down to supply and demand. And this is a pretty rural state once you get outside of the Philadelphia suburbs and drive to Harrisburg or Pittsburgh. And people kept telling us that 50% of the state is underserved as it relates to dental care. The next slide shows, I joked at the summit, when it's on Facebook, you know it's true. And so it was basically, people panicking because their local dentist was retiring and they were really having trouble in many different parts. This isn't just a Tamaqua problem or a Schuylkill County problem. And so next slide, what Temple has come up with is a solution that isn't just going to provide quality dental care here in Schuylkill County, Carbon County, Luzerne County. We think MA recipients are going to be traveling a good bit to come and get the care that they need at a very low or no cost. And of course, as the state senator in my hometown in Tamaqua, I can tell you that people are thrilled that in addition to the quality dental care, they're looking at 25 employees. Temple believes they're going to be able to break even on this within 3 years, looking at $3 million in annual payroll. And so in the world in which I live, that's called good news, good news, good news. Next slide. The original plan was going to take longer because they were going to build everything from scratch. Well, as luck would have it, we happen to have a vacant Rite Aid. I suppose there's a few hundred of those across Pennsylvania now. And so this is where Temple is going to build their first rural dental education center. I sometimes forget and call it a school. Apparently that's an accreditation problem. So it's a center, not a school. It's, of course, a clinic. And so they will be practicing on Route 309 right in the heart of Tamaqua in eastern Schuylkill County at what used to be a Rite Aid. And they will be living, 20 dental students will be living just a few blocks away in an old department store. Any of you know anything about the coal regions of Pennsylvania? We have some empty buildings that we need to fill up. I think the peak year of anthracite coal production here in northeastern Pennsylvania was 1917. When my dad graduated from Tamaqua High in 1953, they had a verified rate of 25% unemployment. I'm not making that number up. And so a lot of these rural communities, they're not what they used to be, and we're trying to find a way to rebuild. And this school is a dream come true for a lot of folks. Next slide, please. This shows you what it looks like today. Actually, this is an older slide. If we showed it to you today, there'd be snow on the ground. But I think you'll see the next slide is a major improvement. That is what it is going to look like. The dean says they're going to open in September. I think that's pretty aggressive, but I'm not going to argue with Dean Ismail. And so if he believes we can be in there by September, I'm all for it. The next slide shows you what it will look like inside. 20 dental chairs for, 10 third-year students, 10 fourth-year students, hopefully a couple of extra chairs for hygienists, for the adjuncts that are going to be working there, the professors that are going to be working there. And they're talking with the local community college. Lehigh Carbon Community College has a Morgan campus a few blocks away at my old junior high school. And at one point, LTRIC was talking about building a separate facility to train hygienists because we held a public hearing with the committee that I chair earlier this summer. We're not just short on dentists, we're short on hygienists, we're short on assistants. I'm learning a whole lot of new acronyms that I'd never been familiar with before, but it sounds like what L-Tri-C is going to do with Temple, if everything works out, is that the dental students will train here during the day, and at night, the dental hygienists will train. And they're also talking about some weekend hours. And so I think it's going to be a very, very, very busy place serving a lot of Medicaid patients. I think they said hundreds per day. We're still trying to wrap our head around some of these numbers. The next slide is one of my favorite. Any of you that know Tamaqua, the one in the middle, the 4-story building, is a Tire Pros, was a Tire Pros store. My wife went there in the 1960s with her grandma before it was filled with tires, when it was an old department store. So some classic old architecture. And Representative Barton and I had found some state money to take this vacant building and turn it into downtown apartments. Again, in many places of Pennsylvania, there's a pretty significant need for housing. Well, then this idea came up, and so we pretty quickly turned from apartments to student apartments. And I sometimes joke that the owner of DiMaggio's Italian restaurant, which is right next to the student apartments, has just won the lottery. He now is going to have 20 young professionals looking for pizza and pasta, or maybe a beer or two after a day at the clinic. And so I think the owner of the restaurant is going to have to figure out, what kind of things do dental students like to eat, and hopefully their patients will visit this as well. It shows you also just kind of the classic interior there on the right. Next slide, please. That shows you what the apartments are going to be looking like. You'll need a magnifying glass to be able to read it. Just trust me, it's going to be 4 levels, and they are going to be beautiful. And the dean has said, when I said, well, how do you get dental students from Philadelphia to come to Tamaqua? He said, we're going to give them a nice apartment, and we're not going to charge them for it. So I think that will be an incentive to try to encourage more people to try out rural Pennsylvania. If that doesn't work, I've promised I will take the dental students over on a recruiting trip to go whitewater rafting down the Lehigh. Jim Thorpe is one of the coolest small towns in America. I'm not making that up. That has been verified by a number of publications. And so we think that we can give these future dentists a pretty good experience in Tamaqua and beyond. Next slide, please. Again, just kind of reiterates what we're talking about, opening in September of next year with 10 third-year students, adding another 10 students then in the following year, hopefully up to 16 dental hygienists using the same space. Great example of a public-private partnership. So we have state money invested in this. We have a new $2 million grant that was just announced by Congressman Muser. The local borough authority has chipped in. There's a private foundation that we believe is going to be very helpful. Temple has said it will pay to equip the clinic. And so it's taken us a couple of months to pull together all the details. In the beginning, everyone thought it was too good to be true. There's an old Pennsylvania Dutch saying, I'll give it to you in English because I would mangle the German, but something about the harder you work, the luckier you get. And we're feeling pretty lucky at this point. I don't have a background in, my doctorate's in public policy. I do not have a doctorate in healthcare at all. I certainly didn't understand a lot about the terrible shortage of dental professionals across rural Pennsylvania until people started telling me about this. And Temple has talked about this being the pilot, and then hopefully, if it works, and I believe it will, they want to replicate it in other parts of Pennsylvania. I know University of Pittsburgh is doing something similar but different out in the western portion of the state. And so I will tell you that when this all started, the first thing I did, I'm an old scoutmaster, I called one of my Eagle Scouts who is a local dentist and said, hey, if we do this, are you guys going to be mad at me? And the response I got from him and from the other dentist that we spoke with is, God, no, we need the help. Could you do it tomorrow? And so that's probably enough of a rambling from me. I can take a few questions before we head on to the next speakers.
Really appreciate the very thorough rundown on the Tamaqua facility and the partnership with Temple, and very much appreciate your role in bringing that to fruition, Senator. Those comments are actually echoed by one of our audience members, Dr. Maria Toslowski, who commented that she really appreciates thank you for being the state's leading advocate for dental health, and comments that what you're doing is amazing and unbelievable. The excitement around was incredible.
She testified at our hearing in Tamaqua, and when she talked about the fact that some parents were coming forth and saying, well, just take my kids' teeth out, that the parents don't have any, so why should the children? I mean, I couldn't, that's this kind of story that gives senators and representatives nightmares. And so I knew we had a problem until I started talking to Maria and some of your colleagues. I had no idea how extensive the problem was. Again, this isn't just Tamaqua. This is much of rural Pennsylvania.
Agreed. The first question we have actually was going to shift gears just a little bit. Dr. Linda Himmelberger's wanting to know about, and this is getting to, the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, you're actually sponsoring a piece of PDA legislation, credentialing reform, SB 888, and I believe you're also a sponsor of another bill that would restore adult dental Medicaid benefits, which is of great interest to PDA. Her question is, given the current political environment in Harrisburg, what do you think about the prospect for passage of PDA's proposed legislation?
I think that, we're going to have to navigate through some political minefields. Obviously, where I serve, the Republicans are in the majority. Democrats control the House by one vote, and we have a very proud Democrat as governor. But, these issues traditionally don't break down on partisan lines. In some ways, Pennsylvania politics is separated more by our urban-rural divide than by R's and D's. On the one of finding a way to help with the Medicaid budget, I've talked to several dentists and said, look, we need an idea. Years ago, I was looking for funding for demolition, and someone suggested if we could just put a $15 fee on every transaction in the Recorder of Deeds office, allow the counties to save that money and use it for tearing down old coal miner houses that, were abandoned 5 years ago and the local town doesn't have the money to tear it down. That way we weren't taking it out of the state general fund. We need to find a source like that for Medicaid, because if I just go to the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee and say, I need, 10, 20, 30, $50 million, he's a nice guy, but he's going to laugh at me. And so we need to find a funding source, and I am in the hunt, but I really need some ideas there. And I know that I've spoken to several PDA reps on that need. We joked at one point about a tax on candy, given the potential for dental cavities, but given the strength of the candy industry in Pennsylvania, I'm thinking we probably ought to look somewhere else, because I don't think any of us want to run into a brick wall. Let's find something that has a real good chance of getting to the governor's desk.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has seriously pushed a tax on candy anywhere, and this is probably the worst state to make that effort. I don't see any questions from the audience. Any of my panelists have a question for the senator? Dr. Shirley.
I turn my, are you familiar with the CAQH platform that credentials providers at all? Is that?
Not really. I've just been starting to work on this issue at the request of some of your members.
Yeah, so the CAQH is like a national database that credentials providers, and it is going to have the ability to credential providers within days as opposed to weeks or months, which is what's happening now. And it just seems like the insurance companies, for whatever reason, and I have yet to really get a good answer, why are they opposed to such a quick fix to a problem that's really a problem for both sides? And I've never gotten the answer, so I'm just curious if you don't know, if we can eventually figure out why they're opposed to a good solution that's out there.
Yeah. No, and on a lot of these issues, the first goal is to get it on the agenda and make some noise. And I think we've started to do that. And in this case, it's not going to cost the state a lot of new money, and so they won't have that excuse. I think we just need to keep pounding away at this, given the workforce shortage, given the fact that, we ought to be encouraging more dentists to get to work, to take care of folks faster and faster, not waiting for some, piece of paper from the bureaucracy.
I believe we have time for one more question here, and I've got one in the queue from Dr. Jay Friedman. Senator, what is the mood in Harrisburg for the strength of science in regards to community water fluoridation mandates?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know to a lot of folks it ought to be a no-brainer, but we are agents of public opinion. We're not philosophers, we're not kings and queens and princes and dukes. And if the folks back in the district scream when they hear about this, you can understand that their elected representatives are going to have a problem as well, no matter what the scientists say. And so that one, I know it's an old issue, it's a new issue. I haven't heard a lot of enthusiasm in saying, yes, now is the year to do that.
Understood.
I wish I had a better answer. That's my honest perspective on it.
Understood. Very good then. We're bumping up against time. Dr. Trotzler will try to get an answer to your question via email or something. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your wisdom and your work on the legislation you're carrying for PDA.
All right. Hope some of you can join me next September with the dean for the ribbon cutting.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks all.
Thank you very much. All right, folks, moving on now to the rest of our panel, but part ways with the senator who has other obligations tonight. We're going to get an update from PDA President, Dr. Ted Rockwell. Dr. Rockwell.
All right, good evening. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right, first thing we're going to do is the board meeting. October 10th was the last board meeting. The board, I'm going to go through this quickly. The board approved the Omni William Penn Hotel in Pittsburgh for the 2027 PDM. The 2026 budget was presented by Dr. Stanley Markowitz. The dues will remain the same at $727. The dues are estimated at just under 1.6 million. The total revenue is 2.17 million. Total expenditures 3.5. The 2026 budget is over by 1.287 million. After net investments, it's slightly over by 920,000. The shortfall will be made up from either from reserves or the due stabilization fund. The board voted to establish a membership task force. This is a very important vote to be appointed by the PDA president to find ways to increase the percentage of Pennsylvania dentists who are members by researching out benefits and functions that are new, using consultants, brainstorming, and relying on experienced PDA dentists, younger PDA dentists, staff, and also dentists who are not yet members. The PDA has been losing members, as most people know, for many years, and the goal is to reverse this trend. The board voted that the 3rd District Caucus present a resolution to the House of Delegates concerning ADA membership numbers because the board felt that the ADA membership numbers were questionable due to problems with Fontiva Salesforce. The basic idea of Resolution 531 was that the periodic reappointment of delegates and alternates be postponed for 1 year from 2026 to 2027 to allow for a more accurate counting of members using the year-end 2025 numbers. The House vote was 58 in favor, but since it required a 2/3 vote, it did not pass. The board voted to authorize an investigation to establish the best and most cost-efficient educational process to teach the BOT and the GRC development fundraising. And next slide, please. And these are the dates for the board BOT meeting. I am not going to review them, but you can look at them later if you wish. Okay, next slide. Okay, the last SmileCon and ADA House delegates was in Washington, D.C. from October 23rd through October 28th. And you can see the Speaker of the House, Dr. Deborah Schmidt-Peters, second Vice President, Dr. Ben Yule, and President-elect Dr. Thomas Palmier. Next slide, please. I'm going to go over some resolutions that passed, not any that failed. Resolution 223H, it sets the ADA Act dues at $627, which is an increase of $57. Resolution 224H, presented by the 17th District, Florida, was adopted by 2/3 vote. The resolution calls for dissolution of the ADA Strategic Forecasting Committee, and that may have been the most significant vote of the House of Delegates. Resolution 309 RC resolves that the insurer providing coverage under a dental benefit plan shall honor a written assignment of benefits made by a patient to a provider, regardless of the provider network status, and opposes third-party repricing. Resolution 522H resolves that the ADA encourage all state dental societies and constituents to advocate for laws to require state dental boards to require clear and accessible disclosure of dental practice ownership and financial control for the benefit of patients. Resolution 521H is another big resolution that passed. It's the ADA governance study. It includes a review of the governance structure, internal controls, leadership and management culture, and accountability expectations. A qualified outside consultant firm is to create a detailed plan to ensure immediate financial sustainability, including long-term viable governance and operational structure. And it directs the outside consultant to have input from 5 ADA groups: early career dentists, post-ADA leaders and or past presidents, state executive directors, members of the ADA House Delegate, and state dental leaders. It requires an interim report electronically to the House of Delegates within 6 months of the close of the 2025 House of Delegates, and a turnaround plan to be submitted to the 2026 House of Delegates for information and action. Next slide. These are the candidates for ADA elected office that announced at the end of the House of Delegates. For President-elect is Dr. Mark Donald, Dr. Karen Arani, Dr. Randall C. Markarian, and the only person who announced for second vice president thus far is Dr. Jonathan Vogel. Next slide, please. So the leadership conference, that's January 30th and 31st, not too far away. Seven Springs Mountain Resort. It's great skiing, and there are some other places nearby to ski too. Room rate is $238 a night, and reservation deadline is at the end of this month, December 30th. For Friday, January 30th, we will have the Board of Trustees meeting from 8:30 to 4, from 6 to 7, a leadership topic by Dr. Marnie Oakley, Dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Dental Medicine, and will be what got you here won't get you there, lessons in leadership. Then Saturday, January 31st, we start off with breakfast, and from 8:30 to 9:30 of a leadership topic by Jackson Kirchis, Serious Business of Happiness in Dentistry. And then there's a break, and then from 9:45 to 11:45, AI in Dentistry by Dr. Savendra Vijayan from the University of Pittsburgh School of Dental Medicine. And then there's another break, and then that's lunch from 11:45 to 12:45, and then 12:45 to 2:45 p.m. New Methods in Endodontic Treatment by Dr. Herb Ray Jr. Used to teach at the University of Pittsburgh School of Dental Medicine, Endodontics, and a past PDA president. Next slide, please. That's finally the Pennsylvania Dental Meeting 2026. The theme this year is Learn, Grow, and Lead. It's April 17th through 18th at Omni Bedford Springs Resort. Thursday, April 16th is the lead up to it. It's meet your PDA leaders, be myself, Dr. Tauberg, and Dr. Mancini from 7 to 8:30. Then there's a fire pit gathering at 8:30, weather permitting. And if you want to get some drinks, you can get them at the Frontier Tavern if you wish to bring them to the fire pit. Then on Friday, breakfast is provided. Then we have a keynote address by Major General Sean T. Collins from 7:45 to 8:45. The exhibit area is open all day until 3:30. The morning CE is restoring dental implants, Dr. Mark Hyman, 3 CE credits, and it's from 9 to noon. The afternoon course, luncheon and address on dentistry's future by Marco Bujusic, PhD, 12:15 to 2:45 p.m. and Act 124 evidence-based analgesia for post-surgical dental plan by Payne. That's supposed to be Payne, by Catherine and Deacon, PharmD, PhD, 2 credits, and that's from 3 to 5. Then there's a welcome reception. That's a ticketed event from 6 to 7. That's always nice. And then an even nicer event is the member celebration and awards dinner, open to everyone. Ticketed event from 7 to 10 p.m. The next slide, please. Okay, on Saturday, April 18th, 2026, the Council of Trustees meeting for those who are involved. And then the morning CE courses are Act 31, Child Abuse Recognition and Reporting for Dental Professionals by Dr. Angela M. Stout. Breakfast will be provided at that course. It's 2 CE credits from 8 to 10. And then after that, Emergency Preparedness in the Dental Office by Dr. Ross P. Carlin, 1.5 credits from 10:45 to 12:15. For those in leadership and those who want to know everything about what's going on with the PDA, we have a breakfast and PDA's business meeting from 9 a.m. to 11:30. So that's parallel with the morning courses. And we'll do the PDA New Dentist Outstanding Achievement Award, all those other things you see there, and the Town Hall Open Forum. Then the student and register poster contest is in the student and resident poster contest is in the afternoon. With that poster contest, everyone can vote and help determine the contest winner. If you read the poster presentations and vote, you get 1 CE credit. The CE course is Restoring Teeth with High Strength Injectable Composite by Dr. Robert Morris. That's 3 credits. That's from 1:15 to 4:15. And then there's a final reception for those members, anyone who is a member of any of these organizations, the Pierre Fouchard Academy, the American College of Dentists, and the International College of Dentists, USA District 3. That's also a ticketed event. It's from 4:30 to 5:30. Hotel reservations for Omni Bedford Springs Resort and Spa. Deadline is March 17th. That's basically 1 month before the PDM. It's $249 a night, which is a bargain for that venue, plus $8% in applicable taxes. And you can book online, or you can call 877-409-6664. So that is my report. Back to you, Ward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rockwell. A lot of information in there. So in the interest of time, I'm going to push right on and turn it over to our 2 ADA business folks. I'm starting off with Ryan Hennigan. He's ADA Senior Director of Business Operations and Analytics, who I believe is going to give us some information about the new ADA credit card, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I'm here to talk about our new ADA World Elite Mastercard. This is the credit card that's endorsed by ADA Member Advantage as well as PDA's Member Advantage. It's replacing the old former ADA US Bank Visa credit card. When did this happen? Conversion was completed on November 19th. Old US Bank cards were deactivated on November 20th. We tried everything we could do to get there to be more of an overlap there, but US Bank really wouldn't budge. All the points and balances did migrate over to the new program 1-to-1. Feedback we've gotten so far is that some dentists felt like they were caught a little bit off guard with the switch. Unfortunately, with US Bank having exclusivity until conversion date, we were pretty limited in what we were able to say and market. Due to financial regulations, a legal notice was sent out to current card holders, letting them know about the conversion 30 days before, but it had to go to the addresses US Bank had on file. It couldn't go to any of the addresses the ADA had. So we did send it out first class mail. It had about 99% deliverability, which was good, but you know, we are taking that feedback to heart that they were caught a little bit off guard. Since conversion date, we've had about 70% of the cards activated, which is good so far. New applications opened up this morning for dentists, their families, and their dental team. They can apply at adamastercard.com for the new cards. Who's managing the new credit card? It's a little different than how it was set up before. Tally Technologies is now the program manager. Tallied is a financial technologies company. They're not a bank. They do all the ops for the card. They do payments, statements, rewards, the portal, customer service, etc. They are backed by FinWise Bank, doing business as Cottonwood Payments, but they're really only the money side of it. They don't do any of the ops outside of approving the underwrite. So why did we change? After a lengthy partnership with US Bank, they informed us last year, at the beginning of last year, that they did not want to continue with the relationship. So we had two options. We either could have informed all of our members that their cards would be canceled around September of this year, or find a conversion partner. It's pretty obvious we didn't want all the cards canceled. So we sent out an RFP to all of the major banks out there, plus some smaller ones, as we've seen that sometimes they could provide better products to a niche market like dentists. Unfortunately, no big banks responded to the RFP, letting us know that the co-branded cards we're really focusing on a lot of the bigger portfolios, the Uniteds, the Americans, the Hiltons, Macy's. For that reason, like the AMA and the Bar Association, they don't have their own co-branded credit cards, so I'm glad we were able to keep this alive. Why Tallied and the World Elite Mastercard? Tallied was chosen because of their ability to underwrite dentists as dentists. We've heard that younger dentists can't get credit cards when they have $100,000 to up to $1 million or maybe more in debt. If they recently purchased a practice, they're starting a family, they just graduated. This shouldn't be the case when dentist bankruptcy rate is among the lowest of all professions. They're going to pay off their debt and they're going to be an affluent customer base. They shouldn't be underwritten the same as a restaurant owner or someone that graduated, without a doctorate degree. Tallied assured us that they will be able to underwrite them as such. It's a similar model to our practice loan endorsed partner, Panacea Financial, who only underwrites practice loans for dentists, doctors, and vets. And we've received so much good feedback from that. We kind of wanted to take that model into this. And they've seen great growth. So hopefully we'll see that with this program as well. An example of that, our current card holders, 80% of them are 50 and over. We had about 8% market share with those 50 and over dentists and under 2% with dentists under 50. This is because these dentists can get approved for a card. And not just this card, but really any credit card. So we want to be the first credit card in these dentist wallets. It's not just for practice owners either. We have two cards. We have a consumer card and a business card. The consumer card has great rewards, 5% off on all, 5% rewards on all dues, 3% on travel, 2% gas and groceries, 1.5% on everything else. I did my own analysis. I'm not a dentist, and it said that this is the card that should be used when it's not a specialty card like a Costco or an Amazon. This would probably be the best card for me. And then we have a business card, 5 times on all dues, 2% on all dental equipment, dental supplies, and then 1.5% on everything else. The World Elite Mastercard is the #1 travel and rewards card that Mastercard has. They partner with companies like Peacock, Instacart, Lyft, Mastercard Golf. They have priceless experiences, great identity theft, HealthLock, and more. $0 annual fee. It's really a great card for anybody. I do want to note that with any conversion of this size, there is going to be a bump or two in the road, such as the old data from US Bank. We had a long-lasting relationship with them. Some of that data might have been a little bit out of date. The ever-reliable postal service, and then sometimes just mail isn't opened. But we are doing everything we can with us and Tallied to get past all those bumps, and we are making great strides 2 weeks into the program. Great member benefit for the ADA and PDA. If you need any more information, please go to adamastercard.com. Thank you all, and I'll pass this along to my colleague Norman Kwong, who will talk about the ADA credit union.
All right, thank you, Ryan. All right, next slide. All right, so I get the opportunity to share with you one of ADA's newest launches, which is the ADA Credit Union, a division of BCU. And next slide. So really the goal of the ADA Credit Union is to provide financial well-being to our member dentists as well as their staff, and then also support new dentists as well as early career dentists in their career and their financial journey. And then also the other aspect of it is to also provide our member dentists with an opportunity to leverage the ADA credit union and to also offer it up to their dental teams, as well as a potential recruitment benefit, as well as a retention benefit. Next slide. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the focus here that we have in terms of how we got to where we got to. The journey started about 2 years ago from the standpoint of ADA looking at how can we help our member dentists through financial products, and we went everywhere. We did extensive due diligence in the process. We looked at how can we create our own credit union, meaning charter our own credit union from scratch, all the way to figuring out how do we partner with a potential credit union that has a lot of expertise in the space. And so over those 2 years, we had a financial services task force that was made up of many different experts, both in the financial industry, as well as in the credit union industry, as well as folks that were part of regional financial institutions as well. And we ended up with the recommendation to the ADA organization and the board to partner with BCU, which you can see here. I'm not going to go through all of the timeline of what and who they're all associated with, but you can kind of get a feel for the size in which this BCU credit union, which is ADA Credit Union's partner in offering the ADA Credit Union members and our ADA members with the financial products that are robust in the marketplace. And so you can kind of see here, just based on the timeline and some of the brands out here, there's a lot of healthcare organizations that they support employer programs. And so ADA launched, next slide, at the beginning of October, the ADA Credit Union, and this is just another slide to kind of showcase the size in which we partnered with BCU in terms of total assets, $6 billion in assets, and from a net promoter score, if you guys know from a banking perspective, net promoter scores are typically in the low 50s, but from a credit union standpoint, BCU is way above that with an 80% NPS score. So that's the reason why when we chose and we did the RFP, we went through and looked at multiple potential partners, and we selected BCU as our partner to launch the ADA Credit Union. Next slide. So I'm not going to go all through all of this. You guys will have the slides, but these are some of the products that the ADA Credit Union is offering up front. And so again, these you can check them out on adacu.org. But these are just some of the actual products that we are offering. Next slide. All right, and so from a launch offers perspective, you can kind of see there in the little phone app there is that there's an 8% checking account, and then there's also ways to earn bonus cash around auto loans as well, and then also some CD offerings there. But one of the launch products that we have designed, and it was through the feedback from the new dentist committee around third year and fourth year students getting ready to graduate, and obviously there's a lot of loans involved, and what we were able to do was to be able to provide a personal line of credit, DentaFlex, up to $25,000 without having to have any credit history, as well as no cosigner needed. And so this is kind of that lifeline for the dental students as they graduate and then move into a new city, or taking additional boards, as well as any specific expenditures that they have. And so this was one of the products that we were able to launch. right out of the gate that is specifically for D3 and D4 students. We are going to be creating additional new products as we are working with our partners at BCU, specifically around loan products that at some point in time we will be launching. But at this point, we encourage you, next slide, to spread the message, to open an account with the ADA Credit Union. It is, again, owned by the members because BCU is also a nonprofit organization, and the members of a nonprofit organization. And the opportunity here is that the incentives, the interest rates, and as well as the offers that ADA Credit Union members have are built for giving back to the actual members versus in a traditional banking organization, they go to the shareholders. So that's why we chose the credit union as the path, but wanted to encourage you all to join, check it out, as well as encourage your team members as well, your hygienist, your front office, as well as your dental hygienists and your team supporting you. This is an offering that you can offer to them as well. So thanks, everybody, and back to you, Ward.
Thank you very much, Norman. It sounds like it's intriguing and really interesting, the whole package there of new financial benefits for members. And I'm really glad you guys could join us to give us a briefing on it. Just a reminder to all the audience members, although we're running a little long, there will be time at the end for Q&A. So please type your questions into the box so we can answer them live. But for our final report tonight, we're going to hear from our representative to the Council on Dental Benefits and Practice, Dr. Eric Shirley. Dr. Shirley.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name's Eric Shirley. I'm a general dentist from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, a current 5th District trustee, and this is my second year on the Council of Dental Benefit Programs. What is the Council on Dental Benefit Programs? It stands for the Council on Dental Benefit Programs, and we interact with the administration and financing of all dental benefit programs, including commercial and public plans, and we manage the standard code set and information exchange processes. There's a handout, like Ward said at the beginning, so if anyone's interested in what we've been up to for the last couple of years, that kind of summarizes all the actions and things that we're working on for the ADA and for the PDA members. So let's start with slide 1. This is the CDT code book. It's the reason I'm going to review the CDT 2026 updates and highlight some of the diagnostic codes and discuss how CAQH changes affect the dental practice compliance and credentialing. This update really impacts every dental practice in the state, both clinically, financially, and operationally. Next slide. These changes modernize the CDT and reflect current clinical practice and payer expectations. Next slide. These items reflect dentistry's movement toward technology, digital workflows, and clearer reporting. Next slide. Diagnostic innovation is a core feature of the CDT 2026. Payers have been requesting clearer documentation for saliva-based testing and cracked tooth evaluations, and this accomplishes that in this new edition. Next slide. These additions address the growth of implant care and digital prosthetics across general practice. Next slide. Previously, many practices were using the adjustment code when the services performed were purely maintenance. This code adds clarity to that. Next slide. this is one of the biggest changes. The D2391 now covers a broader range of minimally invasive restorations. And the D1352, which was the preventive resin restoration, has been deleted now because it is redundant and not necessary. Next slide. The anesthesia and sedation codes received a major overhaul. These clarifications will reduce payer disputes and align the CDT with modern anesthesia practice standards. Next slide. Again, that preventive resin restoration code has been deleted. It's important that practices remove this code from their templates, fee schedules, their practice management systems, and their electronic health records. Next slide. I want to talk about the CDT 26 coding companion. This kind of goes along with the CDT book. It's recommended that every practice purchase this. It is really helpful at reducing denials and resolving daily coding confusion. Next slide. The CAQH, it stands for the Council on Affordable Quality Healthcare. It is a nonprofit organization mainly involved with the coordination of benefits, EFT standardization, provider data management, and payer provider administrative simplification. These updates impact credentialing timelines, payer enrollment, and how fast Pennsylvania dentists can be accepted into networks. The CAQH, which, like the question I asked the senator, is working toward a real-time adjudication of information such that when you fill out the credentialing questionnaire, it will immediately verify that those results are accurate and credential you within hours instead of weeks and months. Next slide. We're seeing tighter coordination between the CDT updates and how SURE's credential providers. CAQH is now a gatekeeper. Next slide. These changes will benefit practices if they update their systems and their workflows. Next slide. These are the actions that will stabilize your operations, reduce denials, and ensure statewide consistency. Next slide. Yeah, with accurate implementation, Pennsylvania practices will gain efficiency, reduce denials, and stay compliant. Next slide. And for a final thing, our council is looking for examples where dentists have been asked to, let me just read it. Carriers are reducing payments allowed to a dentist to recoup alleged overpayments made to another unaffiliated dentist who's treated different family members under the same policy. We're seeking examples if this happens in your practice. Say you have a college student that's seeing a dentist in another state or another city, and they get overpaid, and then they come back and they take the money from that dentist as opposed to the original dentist. We need examples of those kind of things so that we can help to reduce or eliminate that practice. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shirley. And to just the last item, I'm kind of like, can you imagine how frustrating that must be? So if anybody's gone through it, I would certainly think they'd be motivated to report that to you for action by your council. And I apologize for mishmashing council on dental practice in with council on dental benefit programs. Kind of.
Yes. The letters all run together.
Yes, they do. Too many acronyms in ADA. Speaking of ADA, we do have a couple of questions for our ADA panelists, specifically Norman, if you could come back on. Dr. Seth Walbridge had a question pertaining to the credit union. are there any safeguards in case a non-member joins simply for credit union incentives and then drop their ADA membership in a year or two?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and we've received that question a lot from folks. And the answer to that question is that if an ADA member drops their ADA membership, will they still have continuing access to the ADA credit union? They will still be a member of BCU. However, they will not receive any more benefits or promotions that the ADA credit union will offer ongoing. So that's how we are monitoring that. And then we will also work with our BCU partners. We will evaluate whether or not on a quarterly basis who are ADA members, and then who those that are not, and then work with them to again, from a retention perspective, we'll utilize that opportunity to re-recruit them with incentives and offers.
Okay, very good. So if I understood you correctly, basically, a dentist who opens up a credit union account, if they drop their membership, they're still going to have a credit union account, but they just won't necessarily receive special rates or other things like that that are exclusive to ADA members.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Yep.
Well spun. Another question for you, Norman, from Dr. Dave Schimmel. I guess he's just looking for clarification that the ADA credit union will function basically just like a bank with checking, savings, and CDs. That's
correct. Yes. All of the products can be found on adacu.org, and there is a lot of information there and available, and those are all of the products. So it's a comprehensive financial institution that can help you as wherever you are in your career. And one of the very cool benefits that they have is they also do financial coaching, which is different than the wealth management. Financial coaching, depending on where you are in your career, what you're trying to accomplish, it's complementary, and that they have on staff, they have over 300 certified financial coaches that can help you determine what type of loan products, what type of how can I pay off my debt, and do I pay off my credit cards first, and a lot of those things where, again, it may be some people may know it just off the top of their head, but not many people, not everybody has that exposure to kind of the best practices, and they have financial coaching that can also help any individual that joins the credit union.
Perfect. Sounds like a great resource. I don't see any other questions in the audience, but I actually have one for you, Ryan. Just kind of following, because it sounds to me as though the new credit card has some pretty terrific perks for the card holders, the rewards program. Anyway, could you kind of just compare that to the old US Bank card? Is it comparable, better? How does that?
The rewards, getting the rewards points, it's definitely a little bit steeper. We were able to add some things in there, add some of our preferred vendors. If you use the credit card on their products, you'll now get that 5x points. Though before on all other purchases, it was only 1 times points. Now it's 1.5 times points. That's, kind of puts it over some of the other cards you might have in your wallet in terms of other spend, outside spend, as they call it. And then the kind of the perks, the Mastercard perks, such as, the golf experiences that you can do, those priceless things, those are all good. And then with it being that top tier World Elite card, it's really focused on travel and being able to get three times points on travel, and then use that for either additional travel or other things that Mastercard has in their portfolio.
Okay. Sounds to me like it's basically an upgrade from what we had.
Yes, that's what it should be. It's like I said, there's a bump or two on the road initially, but I think we're going to get past that really quick here, and it's really going to be a great member benefit for both ours and your members.
Terrific. Well, some exciting stuff going on in the financial world there at the ADA. Appreciate both of you joining us to fill us in on the details. And with that, we're going to wrap up because I don't see any more questions in the queue, and we're at the bottom of the hour, which is our stop time. So thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. We do record these shows every other month that we do them. So you can always go on the PDA website to our webinar and video library and watch the recording, share that with your colleagues who missed and might appreciate an opportunity to gather some of the information that was available. Reminder, there is a handout that can be accessed there from the control panel. Just click where it says handouts and then click on the PDF icon. You can download it. That's part of Dr. Shirley's presentation. But that will do it for tonight. We will be back in 2 months. So I believe it's actually Groundhog Day. The next time we'll be getting together for one of these presentations. Hope that all of you can join us again. Michelle, I think the slides have frozen up because we're not seeing the time, but February 2nd, 6:30 p.m. We'll do this all again. There we go. Have another really interesting panel for you to hear from. I'd like to thank tonight's panel. Ryan Norman from the 88, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Rockwell, as always, appreciate your information. And Dr. Shirley, that was a lot to pack in for a once-a-year report. So, good evening, everybody. Stay warm and dry as the snow melts.
You too. Thanks.
And happy holidays.